Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Pirates Outlaws. This game is developed by Fabled Game Studios, published by Blitworks, and releases on March 28th, 2023. Unfortunately, I don't quite yet have a price for the game as they didn't share that info with us, but I'll let you know at the end of the kind of review what I think the game's fair price should probably be and what I would think would be nice to pay for it. So, what is Pirates Outlaws? It's a roguelike card deck building style game, where if you've ever played games like Undermine, it's a kind of almost like a mini push your luck video game, where you go out on a quest and try to go as far as you can before you die, but you can only stop at certain points along the way. Now, the game features multiple heroes and quests that you can do all kinds of different things with, and they have different decks and cards that change up everything that they have going on in the game. You have 3 different ways you can play the game. Tavern Brawl, which is basically you playing against another deck. Arena, which is kind of you just pushing as far as you can. And then Navigate. Now, Navigate's the main part of the game. This is where you're going to go on quests, journeys, adventures, sail your ship, and go as far as you can. During the gameplay, you might be able to encounter bounties, ships, things like that. Now, to give you a little bit of context for the game, this game is not going to be an easy completion, and I'll just kind of show you a little of my stats here. I've managed to get 1 achievement in the game so far. This achievement list is brutal and will take you a lot of time. I've already put 10 hours into this game, and the fact that I've done that much, I feel like I've done a lot, and the game hasn't given me any sign of burnout or loss of joy or satisfaction. It's honestly flying by so fast that it's a ton of fun. Now, you're going to have multiple different areas to play at and unlock. As you can see, you unlock areas by your repute. It's kind of like your reputation or XP. You can see different areas cost different points. I think there's about 8 areas right now, and hopefully they'll add more areas. As you play through the areas, you'll score points at the end based on how far you go with your deck that you build, and the game tracks your longest run times and things that you do throughout. So let's dive into the gameplay here a little bit. When you first go into the game, you'll get to pick 1 card to bring with you, and then every time you finish a battle, you'll be given an opportunity to add 1 card to your deck to start deck building. That's kind of the mechanic of this game. And then a couple other things to talk about just while we're still here. At the top, there's relics, depending on your hero or pirate or captain you want to go with. You can get up to 7 relics. You can start with different amounts of cannonballs like your mana or energy, and then you have your health that varies, and you can increase that and decrease it based on your actions. You have your starting cards of decks for that hero, and then the little wheel, the 120, that's like your fuel for your ship, how far it can go. If you see the different areas, they cost different fuel, but you might get better rewards or be able to travel to different destinations along the point. Now, we're not going to go all the way to the end, but ultimately you have to get all the way here, beat that boss, and then you can decide to stop, take what you've gained, or push your luck and try to go further. And that's kind of how the game works. That's kind of that roguelike card deck building mechanics for the game. Now, you're always going to have 5 cards dealt to you, then you can play as many as you can to defeat your enemies. A couple things I want to call out and talk about. I don't feel like the game did a really good job at explaining some of the different terminology. If you're used to card games, board games, and things like that, a lot of this might seem very familiar, but there are a couple things in here that Lifesteal took me a little bit to figure out exactly how some of the cards work. So read some of your cards and see how some things actually interact. You can always hit Y on top of a card to check the description, and then cards that require cannonballs have a number of cannonballs above them, and you can see your ammo on the side there. So another thing that the game also didn't explain to me super well, maybe I missed it, is whatever you see above your enemy, in this case he's got the gun with a 5, on his next turn he's going to attack me for 5. So use that information to plan ahead what you're going to do and how you want to deal with or dodge or do certain things. So I'm going to use agility that gives me a chance to dodge his next attack because I'd rather just not take things, and it looks like that came into a good effect there. Next turn he's going to deal even more to me, but he doesn't know I've got giant tentacles to beat the crap out of him. Some enemies will have different things that they can do, such as this enemy has this ability to come back to life, so I have only a couple turns to completely kill him before he's gonna come back and revive as a new enemy. It could be a random enemy, could be an enemy that I've faced before. You never know, and the game really does a good job of changing things up. Like I said, at the end of each encounter or battle, you'll get to see one item that you can take as your reward. You'll also earn coins that you can use later in the taverns to spend, or in the markets to spend, or in encounters that you may do. This bread, for example, is a relic. It's going to actually give me permanent XP boosts. Now, you can only hold a certain amount of relics, and if you get another chance for a newer relic, you have to give one up. So there are some relics that are like one-time use type things, so I would encourage you to pay attention to those and then sell the ones that you don't need. For me, the characters that I've enjoyed fighting the most is on this kind of second quest line that you can do. These skeleton guys are a ton of fun, and they're very random with some of the stuff you have to deal with. So for me, it's been an interesting experience playing with them, and it's been the one that I've had the most fun. As you can see from the start of the video, I've spent the most time playing this one, and it's really kept me enthralled into the fun experience. As far as gameplay for this game, it's fairly easy and basic to get into. You know, if you're not used to like deck building-esque games, you might struggle a little bit at first, but just give yourself a little bit. Know that your first few outs, you're probably going to fail as your character is starting to build out its deck and get better. You know, don't expect to get all the way to the end on the first go. It's going to take you 3, 4, 5 attempts just to get to that very end go on the first time. So keep that in mind and don't get discouraged. Now, here's an example. I can go to the tavern. There's two ways you lose. You run out of life and you're defeated in battle, or your ship runs out of fuel before you get to the end of an area. You can sell relics, sell different items, gain XP along the way, and even remove dead weight card. For example, I don't want this triple shot card in my deck, so I'm going to spend 50 gold. I could remove more stuff by spending even more money. And this is kind of that deck mechanic building that it's talking about, as well as different encounters. For this one, I've never done a good job at this one, but we'll go left and right. I literally fail this every time I do it. If it's left, no. Left, middle, no. Left, right. Hey, increase my XP, but look, I just spent like 80 of my health failing at life over and over, so this is probably not going to end up being a good run. But this is just kind of the way the game works. So hopefully this has given you a good enough baseline of how Pirates Outlaws worked. For me, it's actually been a really fun and enjoyable game. You know, getting to strategize about how I'm going to play my next couple cards, or pushing my luck in one area and seeing if I'm going to survive has definitely been, a fun and enjoyable experience. It's a game that I've been able to play for 30-40 minutes, go do something else, come back, and I don't feel like I'm lost at any point while playing this. And, I feel like every time I go into another run, I'm gaining something. I don't feel like anything's ever been bad. So here's an example where I could kill this guy now, but I'm hoping maybe I can draw my life gain card before he's going to end up doing his next attack. Doesn't look like I pulled it, so we're going to go again because I can still buy a little more time, and the strategy that I've developed through this kind of helps me determine what I'm going to do. So, look, I want to get another battle so I can grab another thing. So we'll just keep going and we'll push our luck and continue going from there. That's kind of how this game works. I don't want to really play too much. I am going to end up uploading a gameplay video on the channel, so if you guys want to see kind of a full run to the end of a quest line, you could do that. I'd say you're probably looking about 20-25 minutes to get to the end, just depending on the things you encounter and the heroes and stuff you choose to play with. But overall, it's been a really fun and enjoyable experience playing Pirates Outlaws. As far as the price point where I think this game would be good and worth its money, anywhere between $15 to $20 I think is a steal for this game. And if it comes in even cheaper, buy this game. I think you'd have a lot of fun, and it's a really nice, enjoyable game that you're going to get a lot worth your money, and you're going to have to spend a lot of time figuring out how to do the different achievements and collecting everything. As you can see, I've been playing for 10 hours and I barely have a little over a quarter of the cards in the whole game. So that tells you alone there's probably 40 plus hours of gameplay here, as well as all the other stuff that you can do and travel and unlock in this game. Kudos to the developers and publishers. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to the channel or becoming a member today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time.